Hi, Jennifer Sievers with Sievers Real Estate, and we're here today with Kira Rubel of Harbor Law Group.
Hi.
Hi. We're in Gig Harbor, Washington, and so we wanted to talk to you about some Washington law regarding living trusts. Kira, can you help us understand when would it be important to put real estate into a living trust?
Okay, you got it. Well, let's start with the reasons you would even want a living trust in the first place. It's really not always required. It's very situationally dependent. One reason you would want a living trust is if you really wanted to avoid probate. Probate in Washington state isn't bad. So that's not, to me, that's not reason enough to create a living trust. The second reason you would want to create a living trust is if you have young kids. If you and your spouse were to pass, it would ensure that your children could be cared for with support through, college age, and then you could delay distribution to them until you thought they were old enough to inherit. The other really important reason to have a living trust is if you own property outside of the state. So if you have a home in Washington, you also have a home in Idaho, that's a very good reason to have a living trust, because if you don't, each property will be required to go through probate in the respective state where it's located. The other really good reason to do a living trust is if you may have an estate tax issue. Washington estate tax starts at $2.193 million. Anything in excess of that in your estate will be taxed at a graduated tax from 10 to 20%. And then there's also the federal estate tax, which you certainly do not want to run afoul of. And that's presently 40% tax at anything over 11.7 million. That's a lot of money, but you definitely don't want to pay the federal estate taxes. So assuming you have a living trust and assuming you have real property, you always want your real property to be in your living trust. A living trust is just an agreement between your partner or your spouse and yourself, or even yourself and yourself. You can have your own living trust. But one of the great things about the living trust is that it does avoid probate, and because of that really neat benefit, you want to make sure your real estate is contained in the living trust.
Fantastic. Well, that answers that question. So thank you so much. If you have any other questions about law or real estate, feel free to reach out. Thank you.